What does that mean? Attach himself to Scheffler's car, the police officer did, and then Scheffler then stopped his vehicle at the entrance to Valhalla. The police officer then began to scream at Scheffler to get out of the car. When he gets out of the vehicle, the officer shoved him against the car, immediately placed him in handcuffs. He is now being detained in the back of a police car. And again, that's according to Jeff Darlington, who put that out at 6:35 this morning, which sounds early, but those guys get to the course early to start hitting the range and start preparing for the round, depending on what time they are teeing off. I honestly don't know what time Scotty Scheffler was supposed to be teeing off this morning. My golf viewership maybe now is at an all-time low for me. Trying to keep track of LIV and PGA and who's playing where and who's doing what and everybody bitching about their money. I've just kind of been like, alrighty then. I'm just kind of not out. I'm not mad about it or anything, but it's just kind of led to a little bit of disinterest there. So I don't know what time Scotty was supposed to be teeing off. Here's the thing. The problem is that people are going to say, oh, dude, it's the #1 golfer in the world. It's at a golf tournament. They should know. Okay, I mean, maybe. Except for the fact that not everybody, but plenty of guys go to a golf tournament dressed like a golfer. Like, you wear your golf shirt, you wear your little golf pants. I don't do this when I go to a professional golf event. I will wear a golf shirt maybe. But you'll see guys wear, like, their golf shoes. I'm always like, what are we doing here? And, like, I know people are going to say, well, they're walking on the grass in between holes and blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, dude, they just kind of want to wear they just want to wear the little outfit. Which is hilarious. When you go to a baseball game, people aren't in cleats. You know what I mean? Now, at football games, people do go kind of crazy and they'll put a helmet on their head and all that kind of weird stuff that happens with that. But my guess is they just thought this was a patron dressed like a golfer. And most people don't know who golf. Of course, they're going to yank you out of the car. They're going to put you in handcuffs. You're going to be in the back of the car until we figure out what happens here. Opinion, when I'm just, the only place I'm seeing this thus far is Jeff Darlington, but I thought that was interesting. Also, Donovan Mitchell. Oh my God, there are stories all over the place. Bleacher Report was saying the other day that Spida was growing frustrated with teammates' lack of maturity, their focus, their playoff level readiness, a willing to listen. I read a report yesterday that said Donovan Mitchell was upset with the fact that the Cavs weren't setting their goals high enough. A couple of people linked him to being upset with Jared Allen not being willing to get the Now, Donovan Mitchell says, yeah, blue cap, that cap means lie. I don't know why we can't just say y'all lying. I'm sick of y'all sometimes. This is Donovan Mitchell saying, no, this is not true. Now, here's what's interesting. I'm going to use another basketball situation. KD had been playing with the Warriors. There was a fight between he and Draymond. It grew and got bigger and bigger and bigger. KD ends up leaving the Warriors. People said, this is about when Draymond called him a bitch and told him we didn't need him. No, it isn't. Y'all cap. Y'all make stuff up for the clicks. Y'all make stuff up for the headlines. Cap, cappity, cap. And then next thing you know, he goes on somebody's podcast 9 months later. He's like, yeah, I got to be honest with you, dude. Once Draymond did that, I was kind of out. It's like, are you going to go apologize to all those reporters who told people that's what was going on because they had the inside information, they had people telling them, they had sources that told them that's what happened? Are you going to apologize to all those people who you told your fans are liars? Because those guys now get their families yelled at, they get their wives photoshopped.
Good morning, welcome to the stream.
Ridiculous things because people are creeps online. Are you going to do that? Now, I'm not jumping on Donovan Mitchell.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
The point is, when do I believe the athlete?
Check out the channel.
Because if we think about what they're saying about
travel
Donovan Mitchell, if it's true, which I don't think it's necessarily crazy to assume
lifestyle,
that a player thinks this kind of thing,
drone
which we
videos.
all know, and we've all heard other athletes talk like.
Check us out on Facebook as well. We've got content over there not available on YouTube.
Right? Like, this stuff happens in pro sport. So you're probably
Road Dog
being
Travel
guilty
on
by the sins of
Facebook.
others. Guilty by association is the better way to say that. That may be what's happening there. So when do I believe an athlete? When they're telling me the thing that works for them? Of course he doesn't want you to know that's what he thinks. That will be bad for him. That will paint him in a light that does not come off well. Having said all of that, I don't know why. I believe Donovan Mitchell. Sometimes I'll hear a person speak, I'll see something somebody does or posts, and I'm like, nah, they ain't about that. They lying about that. And then other times I'll see something, I'll be like, I don't know why. I've never met Donovan Mitchell. Never. I've met plenty of athletes. I've never met Donovan Mitchell. I don't know a single thing about him outside of what he is on the basketball court. That's it. That's all I know. Some reason he comes off as authentic to me. Now, maybe it's this. Donovan doesn't speak much. He doesn't. He's not one of the more overactive athletes on social media. He's there. He's saying some stuff. He's not overactive on it. He's not overactive with doing the interviews, doing roundtable shows, being, doing that thing, feeding the beast. He's not overactive in it. So maybe it's because he's not saying everything every minute of every day that when he does say something, I'm like, dude, pay attention to this. Because he's not just talking to talk. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. It's 330-450-7625 to send a text to the studio. You can find me on your socials, The Stansbury Show. And 8 a.m., the best sales pitch I've ever heard. I got some audio, can't wait to play it for you. This was some audio I played for you the other day. This was a commencement speech at Benedictine. Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker had addressed men. He addressed young women. He addressed a lot of issues. This is the portion everybody is upset about right here.
Congratulations on an amazing accomplishment.
Telling young women, congratulations on graduating.
You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives.
That's fair, that's fine.
I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you.
And I pointed this out yesterday that that we're reading articles every day about how I shared my husband with 35 women this last year and how it bettered my marriage. Are we ready for open relationships? You know what I mean? It's like they are kind of being sold. Society is kind of being sold. I don't think it's just young women, but society is kind of being sold. Dude, that family structure thing's whack, dude. Just get a little bit more chaos in your life and then you'll be happy. That is happening.
How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you're going to get in your career?
Nothing wrong with that, as you went to college.
Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
Now, I would have said, I bet you're just as excited. Trying to put one above the other, I think, is where a lot of people really took offense to what he said.
I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife.
It started. That gets strange there. Again, he's not just riffing. He wrote this, right? So I think maybe her life was enriched. Maybe he's there. It could be better. His message would have still been received the way it's being received.
Vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
One of. Not the. One of. Being called misogynistic. That's a hard sell for me. The man is crying as he's telling you how important his wife is in his life. I don't view that as misogyny. I don't. You're a straight white cis male. Maybe that's why. All right, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. I have always said the line is this. You prefer your wife to stay home and raise the family and do that whole thing? I think that's a perfectly valid viewpoint. Thinking women are only good for that? Now you're toxic. That's a different thing. But I don't believe that's what Harrison Butker has said here. Because that's not what he said. I'll tell you something else I find very interesting about all the pushback on him. First, there's this that came out, but plenty of football fans bought it just because it's the story. That's a true thing. I don't think most people are buying kicker jerseys. I mean, Phil Dawson, fellow's already put out a statement distancing themselves from it. You know, kind of like how they have to do when a wide receiver. I find that very interesting. Nobody's saying a damn thing about what he said about the trans issue. Not one. Nobody's upset about it. To me, I don't think it matters. But if we were to do this, hey kid, walk towards the parent you wish would stay home and hang out with you all day, raise you, and be present in your life. They're going to gravitate towards mom in most cases, right? Is that biology at some point? I'm told I don't get to have an opinion on another issue in this country because I can't have a baby. Oh, isn't that kind of mean? Maybe whose responsibility to be doing this is the person that can have it? Oh my God! I mean, right? Now again, want the man to stay home, want the wife to stay home, doesn't matter to me. I think society would be better off if one person could stay home and raise the kids. What we should all be more upset about is that that's damn near impossible today. That's what we should be upset about, not with what he's saying here. I'll remind everybody he did get a standing ovation. Yes, a young woman who was in the crowd's written a blog about it. One. Most people who were in attendance, because again, it was a Catholic school, agreed with the sentiment. That traditional, strong family value. Something come out in this, and I was unaware of this. But so many women were posting the audio of Harrison Butker and saying, this is just another reason. What? What do we choose? We're choosing bears? I don't get it. I was in the dark on this. So I did a little reading on it. Apparently women are more afraid to run across a man in public than they are a bear. It's hyperbole, of course, but we'll examine this statement a little bit, and we'll do it next on the Stansbury Show. 9 a.m., I'll rock the bank, pass out that first $1,000 keyword. We've been talking about Harrison Butker, the Chiefs kicker. I got into this the other day, but it's broken widespread since then. And I just kind of noticed something, right? Because he had addressed young men, told them to embrace their masculinity, was telling this story about his wife, and he said her life kind of began as she started her vocation as a wife and mother. It's like, ugh, I don't know if life should begin there. That part's not necessarily my favorite. And there were a couple of things I'm like, maybe we would have cleaned this up, maybe we would have cleaned that up. But I didn't think it was as bad as everybody else said it was. And I started to point out the fact that I'm seeing people really upset about what he said about women, but he had called being trans a sin. And the mistake I made is I said, no one is talking about that. Clearly somebody is talking about that. That's my bad. I used a little hyperbole there, and maybe I shouldn't have. Okay, I'll take that. The reason why I mentioned it is because Andrew had been listening. 330-450-7625. He sent the text in. And I wanted to address it because he said, man, you're just so disingenuous with everything you say. No, I'm sorry. Let's get this quote right. You were so disingenuous with almost everything that comes out of your mouth. I'll stop here to say, I kind of feel like that's unfair. I feel like I got a pretty good track record of saying what that will happen all the time. So I Googled it during the break again. Are people talking about the LGBTQ plus things he had said? Yeah. Article about it. It was mostly about the women. Most times it's like, oh my God, are you anti-trans? About how Kid Rock looked like an absolute idiot by shooting cans up in his backyard. I talked about how Bud Light was not going to be dealing with the protest as long as some people were telling me that they were going to. I ended up being wrong. They were dealing with it a lot longer than I had said they would. Stock's up now. I bought the dip and I have made plenty of money on that stock since then. So that's what I thought about the Bud Light thing. That's what I thought about the Budweiser thing with Dylan Mulvaney. Have I said that I don't believe Dylan Mulvaney is actually trans? Yes, I have said that. Let's go. It's an interesting conversation about how